My dudes, it's your boy, Adam Ward. And joining me on this week's show is a star of stage and screen, Jennifer Varda. Jen has starred in plays such as All Our Daughters at the New Vic, The Collector at the Hope Street Theatre, and Clubbing at the Liverpool Everyman Playhouse, as well as appearing in shows such as Shameless, Peaky Blinders, and The Five. In this week's episode, we talk self-care, appreciating opportunities, BLM, drama school, and Love Actually. So without further ado, this is episode 5 of Your Boy Cancelled, Your Boys Aberdeen.
Hi, I'm Jennifer Varda. You're listening to Your Boy Cancelled with Adam Ward.
I'm just noticing as well, my jacket is a bit, I think that's going to come up. The loud
How are you
jacket.
wearing that in this heat? It is so hot. Why are you wearing?
I was wearing a denim shirt, and then I was like, jacket looks a bit nicer. So
It looks good.
And then the other thing I was thinking was, no one's seeing this anyway. This isn't visual in any way. It makes me happy, and that's what's important.
That's all that matters. Honestly, don't listen to my critique. I know nothing.
So joining me this week is star of stage and screen, Jennifer Varda. How are we?
Yeah, fine. I loved that intro. That was beautiful. Thank you, Adam.
Are you good though?
I'm all good, yeah. As I say, I've just had a burrito, so for some reason I feel all over the place. You know, because it's such a challenge to eat one.
Yeah.
And the out of it was really hot. We used like leftover chili and it was really hot and it had guacamole in. So because I had like half an hour between the last meeting I was in to this one, it was stressful, the burrito situation. So I'm just still reeling over that. But other than that, I'm all good.
See, I like burritos, but I don't like messiness.
Yes. Yeah,
you know
same.
I mean? It's stuff like chicken wings. Like, yes. I like it. I like to eat it, but I hate the feeling of being sticky. I hate it.
Well, but they're like my all-time favorite, like burrito, chicken wings, sticky ribs, and they're just an absolute nightmare.
I'll attempt to eat it with a knife and fork, but then everyone's like, why are you eating with a knife and fork? Who are you? And then every single time I'll try it, and then like I'll give up and be like, no, I just need to eat this with my hands. But
yeah. I need to do it hunter-gatherer style.
Exactly. Yeah, you just got to go full primal. Have you had food at what's that place in the Baltic called? It's all outdoors.
Like Baltic Marketplace.
Not there specifically. There's a place I've been a bunch of times recently. Constellation.
I've been there for a drink, but I haven't eaten yet.
Food is surprisingly good. I didn't think it would be.
Why did you not think it would be?
Well, no, I think. Well, I nothing against Constellations.
But
I've only been for just drinks. So,
okay.
Like I've never been for food, and I had food, and their chicken wings were unreal, but so sticky and messy, ridiculously sticky and messy. But I would recommend them if they want to sponsor YBC. I'm more than happy for them to sponsor. I did this Clarins facial scrub earlier.
Oh, hello, glow up.
Well, my skin was feeling not fantastic, and you know sometimes you need to get that self-care in.
Yeah, you do, yeah.
So I'm gonna have a few blemishes over the next few days, but then this skin is gonna be delightful.
Perfect skin. There's nothing wrong with it.
I really don't. In this light, it looks okay. If you look closer, blemish here and one over here.
Weather and being locked up, locked down, locked whatever. Yeah, I've totally done the same as him. I've been trying to do the self-care things because it was never like a face mask girl or a pore strip girl. I'm not really that high maintenance, but I just thought I'm going to do something. I'm going to put a heavy conditioner on. I'm going to put a face mask on, and I'm going to do my pore strip thing. And you do feel a bit better, don't you?
You do. Yeah, that's exactly it. And I am surprisingly high maintenance, and Erin would probably attest. But yeah, you got to do your bits and pieces to feel good about yourself, don't you? In this day and age. So, Jen, this is Your Boy Cancelled. What are you cancelling?
Adam, I couldn't sleep last night deciding what to pick because there are so many things that I would like to cancel, but I'm going to have to go for Love Actually, the film.
See, I quite like aspects of it. There's certain things in Love Actually that I absolutely hate. I think I've talked to you about it before. That I hate the little boy story. I hate that story. And also, Laura Linney's character bugs the hell out of me as well.
Oh God, it's just like, you're meant to feel, this is the thing that gets me right, and this is the thing, like, we're taught as actors as well, not to try and pull on the heartstrings of the audience. And I feel like that's all that film does, alongside this sort of obnoxious quintessential Britishness, that I just can't, even the likes of Bill Nighy, Alan Rickman, Emma Thompson just couldn't save it for me. So
that's why you cancel it. See, for me, I feel like those three are the saving graces of that film, because I love everything Bill Nighy does, and the Emma Thompson, Alan Rickman story is the most solid story within that landscape.
No, I've got to agree with you, Adam. I'm sorry. Like, no, okay, it's a solid story, but the whole thing about it, the sort of, am I allowed to slightly swear or not?
Swear as much as you want.
Okay, I don't even know if it's a swear word, to be honest, but slightly slaggy, woman that works for Alan Rickman's character. It's just so not believable. Like,
all her lines do make my skin crawl.
Yes.
What's that line that she says?
Oh, I can't even.
There's lots of like just disgustingly like lines that she has. But one of them, it's something like along the lines of, lots of dark places for dark.
Oh, when she opens her legs, freaking out.
Proper creep.
I don't know. And Colin Firth, I love as well. I absolutely love Colin Firth.
See, I hate Colin Firth.
Oh, okay.
I would cancel Colin Firth, because this is Colin Firth every single film he's ever done. Well, the thing is, I'm quite terribly ill. I'm so sorry about this. Well, Colin Firth. That's all he does.
Grant.
But that's it. Colin Firth is Hugh Grant Jr.
I don't know, like Mr. Darcy and then King's Speech, there's a bit of range there now.
All just like upper middle class stuttering man.
Oh, and someone else in that cast, I'm sorry, I've got to cancel, I'm sorry. Keira Knightley. Any film she's in, I can't. She is extraordinarily beautiful. Let's not forget that. But that doesn't make you an actress. That doesn't make you an actor, and it's just like the whole, the pouty and the, oh, I look quite pretty,
That's
and it's
isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
When she's like, I've got banoffee pie or I've got munchies.
Oh, and and the way that, what's his name? The one who was on Teachers, the one that fancies her, fiance mate, is standing
The Walking Dead.
That could have gone wrong in so many ways. First of all, she might not have answered the door, Second of all, her husband now might have come down the stairs and been like, what's going on? Why have you got all these signs? It's just, I am angry though.
What a bad guy. Like, that's his best friend and his best friend's wife that he was the best man of, and he's sneaking around behind his back to get with his wife, who he's always professed to hate.
I know, and the whole kiss bit, and like, it's like, enough now. It's like, oh God.
Yeah, because that line as well, enough now, what does that mean? Because he's just kissed his best friend's wife.
Yeah.
So in his eyes, does he mean, oh, okay, I've kissed her now, so that's enough, I'll leave them alone?
Yeah.
But then he clearly opened a can of worms by just doing that.
Is it not going to be awkward now? Like, is it not going to be awkward at any, to the pub? Or what if she starts having feelings for him and then he meets someone? I could just see it being a whole other film, but like not in a good way.
Yeah.
I just think it's a pile of shite.
I am cancelling people who don't give dogs special attention.
Yeah, same.
Because I hate them.
I know. I love dogs more.
Yeah, no, completely. I'm the exact same. I think if you don't love dogs more than people, there's something wrong with you. And I feel like if you don't have a different voice or way of talking when you're talking to a dog, I think you're probably the devil.
Same. You've got to go, oh,
yeah, whether it's doing that or like, so I do a really weird thing, and I don't know why I do this, but I talk to dogs like they're posh children or very nice old people.
I'll just speak to posh children.
Like, well, hello, little miss. And I don't know why I do that, but I can't help it. It's like Erin's dog, Paddy. Whenever I see them, I'm like, "Oh, hello, sir." And I don't know why I talk to them so formally, but I can't help it. It just comes over me. But I think
Yeah.
if you're not one of those people who feels like that way about dogs, I think there's something wrong with you.
The thing is, when I was a kid, I remember our family dog, we were taking him to the park. His name was Ben. He was a Jack Russell and he was a little shit, because they think that they're bigger than they are. But anyway, he picked on the wrong dog this time. I was only like 4 or 5, and this dog, he survived, thankfully, but this dog ripped him apart, like literally ripped him apart. And the owner was horrible as well. So from then, I had a bit of a fear of dogs. I mean, I was only 4. I can understand if people are scared of dogs, if they've had an experience, but if they just don't like them.
As a kid, I was a bit afraid of dogs. I remember being chased by a German Shepherd. And the thing was, it was a really nice German Shepherd. I was just playing football with my mates, and the owner of the dog was like, "He just thinks you're playing." And I was just running away because I must have been like 7, and this dog was taller than me, and he was running after me, literally just playing. But I'm like, "Oh God,
Yeah.
But it wasn't until Erin having a dog that
Yeah.
suddenly, when you're around dogs all the time, then you realize how magical they are. What kind of dog would you want?
Definitely a rescue. I think I find that really hard going to like RSPCA though. I'd want them all.
I saw a great story at the start of lockdown, and it was a dog shelter, and people had come in and taken all of the dogs because they just want something to keep busy during lockdown. So it was the first time in this shelter's history that they had absolutely no dogs.
Oh my God, that's so cute.
Nice. Yeah. The other thing I was thinking was they had a lot of staff, like a good 20 people. And I'm just thinking, what are these 20 people going to do now that they're out of dogs? They're out of business now. But it was a nice story and a nice video to watch.
Yes, that's it. Let's remember the good part of that story.
Remember the good times. Remember the good times.
The staff that was sacked. And
yeah, I mean, that's neither here nor there. That's COVID for you. So going back to the start, what made you want to become a performer?
Oh, see, it's hard to answer this question without sounding like a bit of a dick, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it's hard knowing what to say, because genuinely it's always been what I've wanted to do. I don't know, that's such a cliche thing to say.
No, it is
different, but it's not. I was like in school, did drama in school. It was the best mark that I got, but I really enjoyed it as well. Carried it on to college, and then went to drama school, and then went to uni in a really weird, like, I did one after the other. It was bizarre. I don't know why I did that.
Yeah, I want to ask you about that because, so for people who don't know, what a lot of people do, kind of the usual route is someone will do a degree in, say, drama or performance or dance, and then we'll go and do a year MA or spend time training at drama school after that as like a top up. But you did the opposite route of you trained at the Arden, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. Now actually, you know what? I do know the reason, just very briefly, because I could go on for ages. The interview I had before this, it was with an agent. So I've signed up to a new agency. And she actually went, the one who gave me the interview, she went to Arden. So we got into like this big, it was only meant to be like a 10-minute chat, but we got on really well, got into this big nostalgic chat and everything. Anyway, cut a long story short, I was speaking about it. And although the Arden, there was a lot of plus points about it, taught me discipline, a lot of different acting techniques. At the same time, I remember I went there when I was 18 and I just didn't feel like I'd made the best of it. And I think that when I'd left, when I finished Arden, I just jumped straight back into university studies. I think because as well, I felt like the training was for a form of performance that was slightly outdated. For example, there wasn't a mix like there is now of like acting for screen. I think we had one module of that in the whole 3 years. So I didn't have that. I felt like I wanted to explore more the theoretical side, because to be honest, in drama school, it breaks you down, and sometimes it just to go a bit deep, they don't build you back up again. So you're just like, do I actually want to do this? Do I actually want to be an actor? So even though it was a really weird way around it, I just felt like, I don't know, I just needed to explore new avenues by doing the same course. I don't know.
No, it does make sense though.
I was 21 and just thought, you know what, sod it, I'm just gonna go for it. And I think a part of me wasn't really ready when I graduated to go out into the big wide world, because they do just break you down so much. They were pretty horrendous at times. I think times have changed now that people are more mindful of people's mental health and, you know, struggles, because it was difficult being a teenager and doing such a demanding course.
Yeah.
I was just a bit mad back then, to be honest.
Yeah.
So I took on, I don't know.
I think that's the interesting thing with actor training, because they want you to touch into such deep and challenging emotions and themes. And I think when you're a teenager, it can be a lot to deal with that kind of stuff. But then it's knowing where to draw the line, because are you giving the person that education to put them in the best position possible to perform later in life and be able to tap into these things, as well as knowing, is this the right thing for this particular student to do?
100%. And I think, like, I'm sure it's different now. As I say, I think everyone's taken, you know, mental health more seriously. But when I was there, I think I just remember them just doing anything to get that sort of level of, you know, the stakes are high in this scene, so I'm going to upset this 19-year-old actress. You know, this was in the second year, so much that she you know, it was just like, but I think because there wasn't any support, they weren't regulated, there was no support there, really. So if you were struggling, there wasn't really anyone you could speak to about it without them sort of saying, well, maybe it's not the line of work for you then. You know, do you know what I mean?
I think drama school can have that feel, can't it? Of if you don't agree with this thing, then this isn't for you.
Yeah, that's it. But then in a way, it's sort of, I really value what it gave me, like the sort of discipline and process. I do value those things, but at the same time, I remember finishing and going, I didn't make the most of that. Do you know what I mean? I didn't really feel like I learned a lot, but I didn't feel like I showcased myself. So yeah, and it was just, I don't know, it was a strange time. But yeah,
I think a lot of it's like, I think a lot of it's to do with kind of the age and how your kind of maturity level at the time of doing those courses, isn't it? I think when I did the 3-year drama course that we both did, the first 2 years were a bit of a write-off for me. Like, I didn't take the first year of that seriously at all. I was just partying, and I was just thinking, as long as I get through this year, I don't really care. And then second year was kind of the same. But it wasn't until third year where I just thought, I need to do something for myself and prove that I'm able to do this stuff.
That's it. I think that, whereas I was the opposite. So when I was like 18 and I was there, I was so terrified of ever being in any way hungover, because they would make an example out of you. I'd say I'm making it sound like it was really horrendous. It wasn't. I'm just saying that it was like hard work, whereas I did feel like, say, John Moore's was a bit more lenient. You know, don't get me wrong, I mean, they wouldn't deal with any old crap, but like they wouldn't maybe make as much of an example of you. So I felt like I went wild when I was 21 to 24 when I did the course, you know, as opposed to when I was 18. So I completely see where you're coming from. As much as I wanted to be like partying all the time, I just couldn't. I was like paralyzed.
But I think that's the best way to be, because you're there for a reason. You're not there to party. You're there to gain something from it. And I definitely think any kind of experience, you get out of it what you put in.
Yeah, 100%. But you need to, and it's part of uni life, though, isn't
completely.
It? Going out, getting pissed, you know, and everything that goes with that. So it is part of it. So at the same time, you can't be too hard on yourself.
No. And I think with drama and performing and kind of creating work, a huge part of that is the drinking side of it. Like, not just specifically drinking, but like, I think things like that are great for bringing a team together and a cast together if you go out on the lash and just get boozy. Like when we were doing Long John Silver, we'd rehearse a few times a week, but we'd always go for drinks at least one night a week. And that really brought the whole cast together. Those kind of socializing outside of that workspace, I think makes you so much more comfortable with those people, and you're able to give more in the sessions then, I think. Not that I would suggest that as a route for drama schools or unis, go drinking with everyone once a week.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, because you're laying yourself bare when you're acting. It doesn't matter if it's in a farce. It doesn't matter if it's in a drama. It doesn't matter if it's in a comedy. You're laying yourself bare. It is, if you're in a cast, then you've got to trust them. And I think that breaking that ice by going for a drink, and even if people don't really necessarily get on with each other, it's sort of, there's a middle ground then, because everyone wants to go and have a drink, and have a bit of a chill. So yeah, I think you've got the right way of thinking there, Adam.
So here at YBC, we do our research, Jen. We do our research. And looking at your spotlight, I noticed that one of the accents that you're able to do is Aberdeen. Could I hear, and the YBC audience hear you do some Aberdeen accent?
What would you like me to say in an Aberdeen accent?
Ooh, it's sounding nice already. Whatever you like, just have a read of something.
Okay, let me get
something nearby, like a book, or...
Can we, if this is shite, can we edit it out? Hello, Adam. So I'm loving this podcast that we're doing now. So I travelled from Aberdeen today just to say hi to the YBC audience. So hello, everyone.
That's pretty good. That is pretty good. I am terrible at accents.
What the hell was that?
You know what I think I might do? I might not release the episode and just release that clip of you saying that and have nothing. So your accent work, I'm terrible with accents. There's hardly any accents I can do.
Same. I can't do it on the fly. I can't believe you asked me to do it. Because it takes...
I like to keep people on their feet.
You do, to keep them on the toes. Yeah. But you the best thing for me to do. I was lucky because I got a self-tape where I had to do a Glaswegian accent, and I've sort of used that now in, when I was writing to a few agents, I sort of included my showreel and I included a recent self-tape just to show I could do the Glaswegian accent. But my partner's uncle is from Glasgow, so I was on the phone to him all the time. I was watching Glaswegian television. I'm more by ear, so if I haven't heard it for a bit, then it's out. It
also says that you're highly skilled in martial arts.
I am. I'm nearly a black belt in karate.
So how did that all come about?
I started that when I was a kid. So I was about 7 when I started that. And then I've still got the belt, and I've still got, I think it's somewhere, I got a brown striped white belt, which is 1 below black, and I stopped. Yeah.
Why?
I don't know. I do not know, because I'm a weird gal. This is what I do. I don't even mean like in that annoying, I'm quirky sense. I'm just a strange person. I do things weirdly. So it started when I was like 17, so 7. So then that might have been when I was about 17 that I got, or 16, and I just wanted to go out drinking with my friends. And it was the same with ballet. Like I started ballet from a really young age, stopped when I was 17, just stopped. I just wanted to go and get pissed with my mates and not get up on a Saturday morning or go to karate on a Friday night. But yeah, it's...
That's a lot of dedication though, sort of 10 years of karate and ballet. That's a lot.
Yeah, I think they just wanted to get me out the house, to be honest. Just like send me to all kinds of clubs. I went to like a French club where we learned French, surprisingly. I did street dance and like all stuff like that, modern, but I just stopped them, and I'd always say to, like, I don't know, if I ever have kids, I wouldn't be a pushy parent, but I'd say just have a think about whether you really want to finish that, because you put this many years into it and you've just, you're just going to stop.
Yeah, that's it. You hear about it with a lot of people who play football. They played it all their lives. Then when they're looking at getting trials for places, they start going out with their friends and then they just pack it in. I do find it interesting. It's like my dad. I feel like everyone's got some kind of football trials story, particularly in Liverpool. But my dad got offered trials at Leeds United. I just didn't go. I wonder how different his life would have turned out had he gone to those Leeds United trials.
Did he ever say why? Or did he just...
He just wasn't interested in football being his life. Yeah. And I suppose if you're not super passionate about it, then there's no point keeping it going. In terms of performing, something I'm really interested in is, and something I ask a lot of people, on this is appreciating the successes you've had. So you've done TV, you've done a lot of theatre work, and you've done some cool like art installation stuff. Do you kind of appreciate those successes as they come, or are you like me and like a few other people I've spoken to? Are you very much thinking as soon as this is over, I need to have the next thing ready to go, and you don't really have that time to think about it?
I think definitely the latter, and I think it's difficult to not be like that. I think you're constantly on a trajectory, you know, as in the, because my partner's an artist as well, and I've noticed that with him, you're constantly looking for the next thing. I mean, for livelihood as well, to pay the bills, but as well to, you know, still keep the creative juices flowing. There have been a few things that I've done and gone, wow, that like I really appreciate that I was a part of that. I didn't think it'd be as well received as it was. So yeah, it's a mix really, but I'm very much someone who's looking out for the next thing constantly. That's why when the lockdown happened, because I was meant to go on tour with the New Vic Theatre this year, and first of all they postponed it because of the election, even though they knew that the date of the election for a while, and then it just sort of stopped. So when lockdown happened, I was like, right, well, what am I going to do, you know, because as you say yourself, and a lot of people have said, you're constantly looking for the next big thing. So I suppose this has given me time to reflect on some of the things I've done, and I always appreciate it. I always appreciate it because it's so difficult, you know, and to get a job in this industry, it's just, you've got to be grateful for it. So yeah, in answer to your question, I'd say it was a mix.
You're saying about like projects you're really proud of. So which projects are the ones that have meant the most? I know it's hard to kind of single out specific things, but
I'd say, you know, one of the most recent was The Collector in Hope Street Theatre by Henry Naylor. It was directed by Ellie Hurt, who's just incredible. Like, she's incredible. And I remember that was one of the, I don't think, because I'd never seen the play before, I know it had been done in Edinburgh Fringe and stuff, but I'd never seen it. And sometimes, like, obviously I trusted Ellie completely with, you know, directing. She's wonderful. I've seen a lot of her work, but reading it and not having it blocked or anything, not knowing where you'll be, not seeing what the stage is going to look like, I don't know, I just didn't know how it was going to be taken. Like, I thought I loved it, I really loved it, but then I related a lot to the main character, and I sort of knew about what the context of it.
Yes, so I came to see it.
Yeah,
it was a great piece, really interesting.
It was just so well received as well. So I think that's the one most recently that I've done that I'd say I was most proud of, even more than the one in the New Vic last year, just because I just can't describe it, but it was just overwhelmingly successful. Do you know what I mean? Like, and received, and it was just a really proud moment, and yeah, and I just really felt like we'd done something special, you know, and it's a shame we haven't done anything else with it as yet. But yeah, I'd have to say that one, if I was to pinpoint one in theatre.
Cancel.
Looking at your social media, I do my research.
Okay.
You post quite a lot about the Black Lives Matter movement, and a lot of people say that this is probably the most significant civil rights movement since the 1960s. So why is this movement, do you think, so important? That's like a big question to ask.
Pretty big question. I think the systemic racism that's been going on since the 17th century, just the fact that, yes, it's become a big deal now, it's become not a big deal now. Like, remember, the Black Lives Matter movement has been going since 2013, and because more things are being filmed now, we're seeing horrific police brutality towards minorities and Black people in America. And I think that image of George Floyd with an officer's knee on his neck, I think that was the catalyst for everyone to be like, let's look at this systemic racism everywhere, because as people are saying now, it's not enough to be not racist, you've got to look into being anti-racist. And think for me, it really touched me because I've lived with racism all my life, but I've never felt. I was brought up in sort of a white family by my grandparents, so there was no one in my family apart from my dad, who I wouldn't see that much, who wasn't white. So it was, I experienced a lot of racism in school, a lot in my adult life, a lot recently. So I think it's hard to describe because it's, in a way, it's a relief that people are actually taking this seriously, and not just because so many times I've been told, sometimes by my own family, oh, you're being a bit sensitive, when someone's been out and out racist to me, or, oh, they didn't really mean that. Well, can't I point out that I don't really appreciate that? So I think this really touched me, and I'll be completely honest, I've been reading up and I've got a lot to learn because I didn't do a whole lot of following of Black Lives Matter, their whole campaign when they started going in 2013. I've only just took notice. I went to my first peaceful protest a couple of months ago, the Black Lives Matter protest. It's just, I don't know if I can even answer that, just because I don't know.
It's hard to kind of articulate the importance of it.
There's, as Jane Elliott says, Dr. Jane Elliott, there's one race, the human race, and I know that sounds really cliche, but unless you have experienced it, if you are a white person and you are automatically privileged. This is the thing, you have privilege, it doesn't mean your life hasn't been hard. It means it's just not harder because of the way you look or the colour of your skin. And I think you don't know what you don't know. So if you never experienced racism, if you hear about it every now and again, then it is easy to turn a blind eye to it. But if you're someone who has to live with it all the time, I'm not speaking about me, I'm talking about other people, I think it's important that white people and non-Black people of colour put the work in and read about the history of anti-racism. These microaggressions and everything that occur, they can be a catalyst.
I think for me, like you say, I've never experienced it myself. So as much as I can say, I understand and it's abhorrent behaviour, I'll never really truly understand what that feels like. It's like I remember being on a night out with one of my friends, and he's Black, and we were in this club. Like most people had gone in, it had gone to 3-4 in the morning, and he went to the toilets, and then I didn't see him for a bit, and I messaged him and said, "Where are you?" And he just messaged me back "Oh, I've gone home." And I was like, that's weird. And then I spoke to him the next day, and he said to me he was in the toilets and he heard some people using racial slurs because they didn't know he was there, they said, and he just left. And it's stuff like that when it hits home, and I feel like a lot of the time I've kind of buried my head in the sand and tried to pretend things aren't as bad as they are. But when things like that happen, and it's people that you know and you care about, and that's when it really hits home, and you realize how big sort of systemic racism is and how big the issue is, as much as you don't want there to be one.
100%. And I think as well, another reason I've been posting so much is because people when was it? Now I'm not having a go of people who just posted the black squares, but it was you meant to go, oh, well done you. Oh, you posted a black square. Oh, well done. And it's no, at least when you post that black square, put a resource underneath, at least put a link to a petition, but you never know, because these people might actually be reading up and, and sort of actively trying to change the way. But it was that whole...
It did feel very... baddie.
That's something that I can't. Me and you had a coffee the other day, didn't we? And I just have a really low tolerance for bullshit, and that includes performative behaviour. If you're gonna, I don't know, it just sort of, some of it didn't ring true, especially people as I saw, say I used to go to school with or anything like that, who have said horrendous things to me when I was in school,
and then they go and post that.
Yes, you can change. We all make mistakes, as kids. We can be little shits. At the same time, it feels like if you're just going to be performative and you're not actively trying to change as an adult, trying to teach your kids.
But you do make a good point. It's you either be an advocate for change or don't post things. You've got to practice what you preach, is what you're saying, essentially, isn't it?
Well, I mean, if you're going to post a black square, or that was months ago, wasn't it? If you're going to do that, just put a link underneath. Just say resources. Because
I think the interesting thing about the black square as well is a lot of people have posted that black square and then they've not said anything since or done anything since. Or
it's not a social media trend, not. And as much as I'm not saying that, as much as I've been posting about it, I'm not saying everyone should be like, don't post it. It's fine. It's just like, just be more maybe mindful, or I don't know. It's really hard to answer that question, Adam. I don't know. I can't give you one reason as to why it's important, but it is important.
No, well, thank you for that answer, though. Moving on to something entirely different. I just want to talk about this story that I came across.
Oh, I love stuff like this.
Yeah, me too. So I came across this unusual story earlier today. And actually, this is super brand new news. And it's important news, which is what YBC is all about, Jen. Important news. So an Aldi shopper says Jesus appeared on a potato. And even her usually skeptical husband agrees that is Jesus.
Okay, let's have a look. What, that?
That is
I can see it. I can see it. I can see it.
What I love about that headline is the usually skeptical husband. Like, he's gone, oh, you say everything's Jesus. Wait a minute. That potato is Jesus. So, wait a minute. Switch that kettle off. That's Jesus. So, Nikki Halkerston was unpacking her weekly shop when she spotted the face of Jesus in a £1.15 pack of Aldi potatoes, saying the marking on the spud was so obviously him. Mark, that's so obviously Jesus. Come on now. And what I think is even the most ridiculous part of this story is this is in the Mirror. Like, this is in an actual newspaper. This isn't in like some joke paper. This is an actual paper. I mean, not that the Mirror is the most reputable source, but
she was paid for that, man. She was paid money to do that, and it's like,
talk about her potato. Yeah, the 44-year-old from Dundee, so we can throw your Aberdeen accent into this story. Immediately called her husband over to confirm her find, and even though he's usually very skeptical about these sorts of things, he couldn't deny the resemblance. So as soon as she put the packet, she said, as soon as I put the packet on the kitchen top, I saw it. What an unusual person. I was staring at it, and it was quite obviously Jesus' face. It was looking at me. It was just looking at me. That potato face was looking right at me. So after all these quotes about her saying she called her husband over, they were amazed that it was Jesus. At the bottom of the story, at the bottom of the quotes, it just says, I've eaten it now. I mean, I feel like either she is agnostic or maybe a Satanist, but she's like, that's definitely Jesus. Frank, we're eating it.
You'll see the quote. I've eaten it now.
After all that, I mean, it's a good thing she took the picture before she ate it, because otherwise, I mean, she's not getting that payout from the Mirror.
Well, that's it. And plenty of other people have previously claimed the face of Jesus has also appeared to them in a variety of forms, from the folds of a curtain to the cuttings of a shrub.
I don't understand these people who... Like sometimes you might be eating something and you might go, oh, look, looks like it's got a bit of a face on it, and you go, oh yeah, it has. Then you don't mention it again. But you go, get the papers on the phone. We need to tell them about our potato Jesus.
I want to know how much she was paid for that.
I'd love to know.
Because honestly, like, if I'm ever skinned, I'm gonna find a face in something, or I'll just carve it into.
I think I'm gonna start doing that. I mean, times are tough during COVID. You don't know where the next check is going to come in. So if you see a face of Jesus in anything, you better call the Mirror, because they might give you a few £100 for it. Jen, it has been an absolute joy talking to you as always. Is there any projects you've got coming up that you'd like to talk about?
So I've just signed up to a new agency, which is exciting. Hopefully that'll be good. And I've been asked to be in a show reel tomorrow. Well, I'm talking about it with them tomorrow. So I've got to perfect a New York accent. Now I know I've got that on my spotlight, but I need to go back over that.
Yeah. Would you say it's better than your Aberdeen accent?
Well, I think anything's better than my Aberdeen accent.
I was a fan. This has been episode 5, I think, of Your Boy Counselled. Jennifer Varda, always a joy. I'll see you soon.
Always a pleasure. Bye.